This AI sales agent I've built can automatically handle all of your inbound and outbound phone calls just like a receptionist, being able to answer customer questions in multiple different languages, qualify leads, and perform really any other action like getting your schedule and availability, booking appointments, and grabbing information from your CRM, and forwarding calls, and so much more. So whether you are a medical practice looking to increase your monthly patient seen, or maybe an e-commerce company looking to handle their support tickets and automate their customer service, or maybe even a home service business just wanting to automate your inquiries and save time, or even an agency or freelancer just looking to sell these solutions to businesses, it does not matter. I will be showing you how you can set up this full system using 11 Labs, N8N, and Twilio. So of course, before we get into the video, just like usual, I want to showcase a quick demo of what this actually sounds like. So what I've done is I have created a fake company. You see here, we have this fake information on this website. We have some appointment types. We have comprehensive healthcare services. What I'm going to do is I am just going to click here to start a call. So with what I'm about to be showing you and how you can actually set this up, I'm going to show you how you can deploy a inbound receptionist on your website right here on top of having a normal inbound receptionist for your own company. So they don't have to go through here to call this receptionist. They can also just call a normal number that your company would normally be using, or you can also have it do outbound calls. So let's just go ahead and click on start a call right here, and we will click on accept.
Riverside Medical Center. This is Nikki, a trained AI assistant. How can I help you today?
Hey Nikki, I was actually curious what services you guys offer and see if you would be able to help me. I'm looking for some geriatric care.
Of course, I'm happy to help. Riverside Medical Center offers a wide range of services including primary care, preventive screenings, chronic disease management, women's and men's health, specialty consultations, diagnostic services, and vaccinations. For geriatric care specifically, we focus on health management for older adults, including memory care, fall risk assessments, and medication reviews. You'll want to bring a full medication list to your appointment. During the visit, you can expect a holistic review of your physical, mental, and functional
that's
health.
awesome. And what types of appointments do you actually offer?
Great question. We offer several types of appointments, including annual physical exams, new patient consultations, follow-up visits, acute care visits for sudden illness, laboratory services for blood work.
Could we actually book something for maybe just like a new patient consultation?
Absolutely, I can help with that. A new patient consultation is a first-time visit to establish care with us. During this appointment, you'll discuss your medical history, current concerns, and set up a care plan. It lasts about 45 minutes and you'll need to bring your ID, insurance information, medication list, and any prior medical records. So would you like to know more about how to prepare or what to expect during the visit? Or do you have a preferred location, Charlotte, North Carolina, or Cleveland, Ohio?
Hey, I just want to book an appointment. Can you check availability for Monday, September 1st?
Of course, I can help with that. Could you please tell me what type of appointment you'd like to schedule? For example, is it a checkup?
New patient consultation?
Thank you for letting me know. A new patient consultation is a first-time
I
visit
know,
to
just
establish.
check the availability for Monday, September 1st.
I'll check availability for a new patient consultation on Monday, September 1st. Please hold for just a moment while I look that up. We have openings for a new patient consultation on Monday, September 1st at 9 a.m., 9:45 a.m., and 3:15 p.m. Which time would you prefer?
Could we actually do 9:45 a.m.?
Absolutely. I can book your new patient consultation for 9:45 a.m. on Monday, September 1st. May I have your first name to get started?
Yes, my first name is Nick.
Thank you, Nick. And your last name, please?
Peruski.
Thank you, Nick Prusky. I want to make sure I have that correct. Next, I'll need your email address for appointment confirmation. Could you please provide it?
Yeah, my email is nick@gmail.com.
Let me confirm that email, nick@gmail.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Great. Thank you. Lastly, may I have your phone number for the appointment details?
Yeah, my phone number is 215-555-5555.
Thank you. I have your phone number as 215-555-5555. I have all your information. I'll book your new patient consultation for September 1st at 9:45 a.m. now. One moment, please. Your new patient consultation is scheduled for Monday, September 1st at 9:45 a.m. A confirmation will be sent to your email. Thank you for choosing Riverside Medical Center. If you have any questions before your appointment, please feel free to call us. Have a wonderful day.
So as you can see inside of my calendar, we have, well, did spell my name wrong, but it says Nick Peruski in Riverside Discovery Call. So if we go inside of N8N, we can see that the booking actually did have an error responding to the webhook, but it was able to schedule within Google Calendar. So the error within this, it was just a simple syntax error, which can be fixed later. It's not too big of a deal. The most important thing is that this actually booked into my schedule. Earlier on, I was showing you that it was capable of responding based on some information that I provided it through a knowledge base. So here we have some information just going over some of our services and some of the different types of appointments that we actually take within the clinic. So follow-up visits, acute care visit, laboratory services, general office visits, and so on. Beyond that, we also gave it access to our calendar. So it was actually able to pull my availability, see if there was any blockers not allowing me to schedule an appointment for that specific time. And if it did find any blockers, then it would just suggest different times than what the user has requested. But here, there wasn't anything on 9:45 or anything in the morning for September 1st. So I was able to book something within that, which is exactly what we were looking for. And then of course, within here, it was booking the appointment, requesting some information. So it did request my name, the time. Well, this is actually from a previous execution. So I believe it would be one of these. Anyways, it was grabbing my phone number and it was grabbing my email and my full name, which is then just going to be inputted within Google Calendar. But I'll show you guys how to actually set this up step by step later on in the video, so make sure to stick around. But really quick, before we do get into that, I just wanted to mention that I will be sharing the blueprints and templates with all the prompts that I used in this video in my free community where you can get access to all of that. Link is down below in the description, where we now have over 11,000 members. We're getting close to 12,000, and it's just a great place to really meet other AI enthusiasts and entrepreneurs, ask me questions directly, join competitions with rewards, and much more. So again, the link is down below in the description. Would really love to have you all in there. So with all that being said, I did want to show you just really quick overview of what we are actually going to be building and what these agents and systems are actually capable of. So what I've done, I've shown this in a video before, just highlighting what these systems are capable of and really giving you an idea of how they are working. So here you can see we have the inbound call, and then down at the bottom, we have the outbound calls. So with the inbound calls, this can actually handle really any department in operation. So what we were actually doing would technically be considered customer service, but it really fits under sales within this specific board. So let's call it sales, what that agent was just doing then and there. So it was answering questions and FAQs. It was qualifying the lead. Really, for medical practices, they don't have to qualify the leads too much, maybe asking if they have insurance or anything like that. Besides that, it was driving me to book an appointment or sell something to me and transfer the call if necessary. If I was unqualified though, it would be able to not schedule the call and actually can recommend lower tier offers and services. And keep in mind, these are flexible, so they do not have to resemble everything that I'm mentioning right here. They're just giving you an idea of what's actually possible with these types of systems. So for customer service, maybe if you're an e-commerce company, you want this phone, or maybe it doesn't have to be just deployed on phone channels. This can also be working across maybe email or text message, WhatsApp, where this is just going to be able to identify issues, perform necessary actions like canceling services, retrieving order statuses and information, and answering questions. Beyond that, it can forward the calls to live support if necessary, and also create tickets. But if we were to do any outbound calls, we would be getting these leads from, already having a whole list of dormant leads perhaps, where we would upload a lead list and then our AI system is going to call them. On the other hand, we can just have this be instant engagement. So you can imagine if your team is running ads, or maybe you're generating a lot of traffic and people are opting into your funnel and giving out their information. So maybe somebody running ads, they're asking people to fill out a form and say, hey, just give me your number and we'll be in touch. So instead of waiting days or hours for those leads to be followed up with and slipping through the cracks and going to other providers, you would be able to contact them instantly through a system like this, where the agent obviously just calls the lead within seconds or minutes. It can confirm the contact, qualify them, answer any FAQs, nurture them, and of course, book them directly into the calendar. So there's a lot of different options of what this is able to do. So if they do not answer, you can just have it leave a voicemail and then send a follow-up message. 1 day later, you can have the system call again. 5 days later, call again, or maybe send follow-up messages. If the lead does answer and they do book a call, well, we're just going to send some confirmation text and try to reduce the no-shows. So how we can do this is by, sending a confirmation text upon confirmation, a day before the appointment and a day of the appointment. Beyond that, if you were to call these leads and they don't answer, well, you can have the agent determine what actions are needed next. Do we need to send additional information to the lead? Do we want to add them to a do not contact list? What do we want to happen? So this is again, like where you can have some flexibility and determine what you would like to happen, what's going to be applicable and relevant for your particular use case. But anyways, let's get started actually building this out. I think that is enough talking about how these systems actually work and showing you. Let's get started doing this step by step. So what we're going to be using is, of course, as I mentioned, 11 Labs. So what we have right here is we just have a simple agent set up. I just call this YouTube agent. So the first thing you want to do, sign up using the link down below in the description. 11 Labs has been kind enough to give us a discount code where you can use that link to sign up and you'll get a discount. Beyond that, what you want to do is once you create your account, is we are going to be setting up a brand new agent. So you can just use a blank agent, or you can use personal assistant and business agent, where if you click on one of these, it's going to ask you some follow-up questions like what will your agent help with? And it'll just basically give you some sort of templated, pre-made agent. Of course, you're going to still have to make your own tweaks to it if you want it to be production ready, but it's going to give you a nice foundation, something that you can build off of. But for us, we're just going to be focusing on a blank agent, and you can call this whatever you would like. So once you actually do create that, you're going to be prompted with something that looks like this menu right here, where we have this dashboard where we have a lot of different columns. So we have the agent column, workflow, voice, analysis, tests, security, advanced, and widget. The main ones we're going to be focusing on is the agent, the voice, and the widget if you do want to deploy this on your website, just like I had it in the bottom right here. So coming back into 11 Labs, let's go to the voice section, where this is just obviously going to be where you can pick the voice of your agent. You can see here I'm using Veda Sky. I also think that Nova Westbrook and Callie are great voices. Beyond that, there's one called Heather Ray that I think is very, very realistic sounding. So let's actually switch to that one and we could try it out in a little bit. Let's just go and save that. From here, there's not really much more that you have to do within this own section. You can add multi-voice support, where this is going to, allow the agent to switch on demand to different types of voices. So if you want to have a voice that's going to be in Spanish and have that Spanish accent, then this is what you're going to be using. But for most people's use case, you probably will not need this. Beyond that, you have these little tweaks down here that you can make. So these little sliders. Optimize streaming latency, I keep this at 3. The stability, I keep this around 0.25. I wouldn't, stray away from this too much. I found this to be a decent number where it's going to allow your agents to be expressive, but also it's not going to have a lot of hallucinations. The speed, it's really going to depend on what voice you're using, what you want the speed to be set at. And then the similarity, I keep this at 0.6, but feel free to test these out for yourself and really see how it's going to sound. Beyond that, let's go within the test section. So if you did want to test your agents, you can go within the tests on the left-hand side, create your first test. And this is just where you're going to be building this out a little bit. I haven't used this too much myself, but I know that it is very useful because there's something within VAPI that is very similar, where you're just able to pretty much mass test these solutions. So let's go back to our agent and let's go to the last column, which is going to be advanced and the widget. So in advanced, I don't make too much changes to this. The turn timeout, I keep this at 7. Silence and call timeout, keep this at 20. But of course, change it to whatever you might need within your use case. Moving on, we just have the widget. All I've done within this section is copying this widget, and I inputted it into my website's code. So I used VO to build this website. So I just prompted into VO, can you enter this embed code into my website? And then it was able to build out this little widget that you can see down here. And you can also customize this if you would like. As you can see within 11 Labs, there's some interface sections where you can change some things. So expanded behavior, start collapse, the appearance, you can have it be full, placement can be top or whatever. You can even change the avatars to be different colors or maybe an image if you would like it to be an image as well. Okay. Now let's go back to the beginning, which is going to be the agent section where we actually are going to be building out this entire system. So we will start from the top and move our way down to the bottom. As you can see, it's not a whole lot. So the agent language, we're just going to be using our native language, which is English. Feel free to choose anything else where you have these additional languages within here. And if you do choose any additional languages, I would recommend to change the voice as well. So if you choose maybe Spanish, for example, as the additional language, well, within the voice, you might want to find a voice that's going to have a Spanish accent. So how you would actually do that is if you go to find more voices, it will bring you to this voice library where you can search for thousands and dozens of different types of specific voices. So they probably have dozens of different Spanish voices as we can look up right now. So let's find S language Spanish, and yeah, let's just do Spanish as well. We could just give it any accent. Any Spanish language is probably already going to have that accent. And then you can see right here, we have Nora, we have Sarah Martin. So feel free to test these out yourself. You can even filter these and narrow down your criteria a little bit further. So the gender, the age, the notice period, whatever. So let's back up and let's go back to our agent. Okay, now moving on, we have the first message. So this should be pretty obvious to you what you would want to fill in right here. So for us, we have the agent respond, Riverside Medical Center. This is Nikki, a trained AI assistant. How can I help you today? But if we would like, we can add something in there like, can I have your first name, please? And if we just save this, it's then going to pretty much just relay the same thing within the testing AI agent. So it's pretty easy to test this. Also, I would do all of your testing through here, because if you read down below, in development calls, they are 50% off. So you're not going to have to worry about eating up all your costs, just doing some testing. But let's close that out and let's move on. We have the system prompt, and this is what you are going to be focusing on the most and probably where you're going to be spending most of your time. So what I have done is I have created pretty much just a document consisting of what we typically employ for our clients. So this is the similar structure to what we have for some of the medical clinics that we're working with today, where we have the identity section, the voice and style, the call opening behavior, and then we have data sources where we are describing, some knowledge bases that we are giving the system access to. And really quick, I just want to mention that if you did want access to this entire prompt, then you can get it in my free Skull community. Link again is down below in the description, where we have also the templates that will be available, the N8N templates, which I am soon to be showing you, and everything else that I will be covering within this video. So again, link will be down below in the description for that. So to break this down a little bit further, within this prompt, we have the identity, basically just describing what the agent is. So we say you are Alex, an appointment scheduling voice assistant for Riverside Medical Center, which provides comprehensive primary care and specialty medical clinic services. Your primary purpose is to efficiently schedule, confirm, reschedule, or cancel appointments while providing accurate information about services from your knowledge files only. So this is where you're just going to be pretty broad and telling your agent what you are going to be in charge of. So this is exactly where you're going to mention that, right, within this identity. Next, we have the voice and style. So we're just getting a little bit more specific, saying how we want it to actually be responding and, answering people's questions. So we say, use a friendly, professional, yet warm tone suitable for a medical office. Keep your responses concise, really between 8 to 15 words per sentence. Use natural language speech patterns with occasional phrases like I understand and of course. Insert brief pauses between information chunks to sound natural. So do not say brief pause though. Show empathy and sensitivity appropriate for medical patients. Never rush the caller, and then maintain a reassuring tone when discussing medical services. Okay, so I just want to preface everything that we're doing here. We're just being very specific about what we want to happen, but we're not getting so specific where we're including redundancies or anything that's just going to be overkill, because the longer our prompts on is where we run into hallucinations and the system gets pretty confused. Also, it will be a bit more expensive, as I will show you later on in this video how the pricing kind of is structured. So the call opening behavior. So this is just where we give a numbered list of how we want our opening calls to be handled. So we just say specifically, never assume the reason for the call. Always begin by understanding the caller intent. So start off by greeting the caller. So this is where we mention the first line, and then we wait for the user's response and then route. So if they say existing patient or I've been here before or anything vague, this is where it can say welcome back. Would you like to schedule a new appointment or manage an existing one? Now, if they say anything like I need to reschedule and cancel, then you can follow the reschedule or canceling flow. And if they say a service name or mention something like physical exam or consultation, then you can go down this route. So you kind of get the idea. And I did mention earlier on, if you wanted to forward the calls, then you can do so through just mentioning the transfer call function with the associated numbers. Okay, so now we have below is the data sources that we are giving this system access to. So we say particularly, you have access to 2 knowledge files only. You have the Riverside medical appointment types, and then you have the Riverside medical services information. So the Riverside medical appointment types, this is obviously just consisting of different types of appointments that this clinic is handling. So we just broke down everything and how it's actually structured. You may not need something like this for your own company or whoever you are building this for, but it is available if you do need to do so. Beyond that, we have the knowledge base for the services information, where we're just getting specific about the different types of services. We can also format this a little bit differently and have the agent respond and use this information and present it to the user in a different manner if we needed to do so. But let's go back to our agent, or our knowledge base rather, prompt, and let's move on to the next section. So information delivery. So when callers inquire about specific medical services, first provide available information about the service from the knowledge base before attempting to schedule an appointment, and only suggest appointment scheduling after providing this information. So how we actually came to input stuff like this, it took a lot of data to play around with. So once you are using these agents in production and you have a lot of data to test with, you will find that you need to tweak the prompts and add some things where you might have to say things like this specifically. So when callers inquire about specific medical services, first provide this available information or whatever it may be. And then we also provide, strict rules. So this prompt that I'm giving you, it's very battle tested, but it's also going to be very relevant to our particular use case. So we mostly focus on healthcare. We also work with varying industries, but our sites are primarily set on healthcare practices. So this is where this is going to be heavily tailored towards healthcare. As you can see, we have some of our different services and some of the nuances within that. The next section, we have the functions. So the functions, we are only going to be using 2 different types of functions with this specific system in this video. And that is going to be the getting availability and booking appointments. If you would like, you could also include things like transferring the calls or canceling appointments, or maybe just getting appointment statuses, like maybe they forgot what time their appointment's at and they need to grab that information. Also updating appointments. These are all things that you can add as well as additional features, but we're just going to keep it simple to the 2 most important ones, which is just getting the availability, getting those schedules, and booking the appointments. So we just say outright, The availability function, this is going to check appointment availability via webhook to scheduling system. And we're doing the same things pretty much from there on out. So we say here's some of the required inputs like the location, the date, and the appointment type. And this is going to also reflect the functions that I will be showing you later on. So make sure to stick around for that piece. And then we just include some more nuances. So like insurance considerations. If the caller mentions insurance questions, just acknowledge with I understand insurance can be confusing, and it can, go on from there. For follow-up questions, here's just some things that we want to follow up with. If they go down a specific route, booking the appointments, this is how we want to go about, booking these specific appointments into the schedule. So after identifying that they do want to actually set something up, this is where the agent is going to be very strict and linear, where it's going to say, I'd be happy to help with that. What type of appointment are you looking to schedule? And then number 2, just verify that the appointment type exists in the appointment types. If not found, it can just respond with a particular sequence. So you kind of get the idea. Beyond that, we are mentioning very specific things. As you can tell, specific is going to be a very common word I'm going to be using within this video, but it is pretty specific what we are describing here, and it's the best way to describe everything. So we are saying it is critical to spell back the entire email slowly, because a large problem that we have had within this space is being able to confirm long strings of numbers or letters. So that's why we are having this agent repeat all the letters back to the user and ensuring that everything within that sequence is correct, because we do need their email and we do need their phone number. Although if we're already on the phone with them, we're going to have that regardless. So usually it's just the email that we are focused on. From there, we're also breaking down how to actually schedule things. So use a 24-hour format. So these are all things that you can be using yourself, and then you can pass this entire prompt into ChatGPT, and you can say, okay, use this template for my company, but I would like you to change these things. My company name is instead called Evergreen Dental, or whatever it may be. Beyond this, we are mentioning how to go about rescheduling appointments, canceling appointments, information requests, where we will then dive into the knowledge base, error prevention and flow management, name and email handling and critical requirements for that, email handling beyond, and conversation flow protection. And that's pretty much it. Also, we go over some protocols for how to actually forward some types of calls. Okay. Now, if we were to move on, you can see down below, we would have the type of LLM that we are going to be using. So I use 4.1 for this. It is one of the cheaper models that you can be using. Of course, 4.1 mini and 4.1 nano is going to be cheaper than this, but it will run into more hallucinations than, what you would get from 4.1. And it's just going to be more sound, if you will. If you would like, you could break down the detailed costs. So you can see here's the estimated cost for using 4.1 and for the length of my prompt. So it's about 7 cents, where if we were to reduce this from the prompt length to being about 158 words, it's going to be only 2 cents. So it's a lot cheaper if the prompt is going to be smaller. So just keep that in mind. You could also weigh the cost with everything else. If you want to weigh the cost of what 5 would look like, obviously it's going to be more expensive. If we were to add another digit to that, then it's going to be about 20 cents. Or no, I'm sorry, that's still 2 cents. But yeah, let's move on. So we're going to stick with 4.1. I think 4.1 is still a pretty safe model to be using. It's cheaper than 5, as you can imagine. The temperature, we're going to leave this alone. I generally do not touch this. I usually want my agents to be pretty linear, and that's what we are trying to keep everything within this prompt. It's very linear. Next up, we have the agent knowledge base. So there's only a couple more pieces we do have to cover. So the agent knowledge base, this is just where we are going to essentially download as a PDF all of our documents, and then we're just going to throw it inside of 11 Labs. So if you go to add document, you can add as a URL, add files, or just create specific types of text. What we obviously did is just added a PDF. And you can see if I open this up, here's what the knowledge base looks like. So let's close that out. Okay, this final piece that we have to cover within this agent is the tools section. So if you remember, the functions that we're using, also known as tools, is going to be the getting availability and the booking time. So we do not use anything within here. You can tweak some things, like if you want to allow the agent to end the call itself, you can enable that. If you want it to be able to detect the language. So in this instance, if you have somebody calling in and you expect most of your audience to be American, where they speak English, if maybe some of those people are from out of the country and they speak a totally another language, well, you would want your agents to pick that up and be able to, transform the calls to another type of agent that's going to be able to speak, let's say, Spanish. So this is where you would want to enable that, where it's just going to say, okay, well, I recognize that this isn't English that the user is speaking, so I need to switch to whatever I think it is. And that's, let's say hypothetically, it is Spanish. Skip turn. This is just where the agent will skip its turn if the user explicitly indicates that they need a moment. Transfer to agent. This is just where this gives the agent the ability to transfer the calls to another agent. So let's say maybe we had a whole nother agent within 11 Labs set up. So maybe it is this sync to receptionist, or maybe it's a billing agent where it's strictly handling taking payments and that sort of thing. Because if you did want to add the feature ability to accept payments, you don't want to just stack everything on to the one prompt within 11 Labs, because you wouldn't just want to stack everything on to this prompt right here. As I mentioned before, you will run into hallucinations the longer that your prompt is going to be. So that's where you're going to have multiple agents. So if you recognize that a user needs to be handling the payment, that's where you would move that call to another agent to handle that payment. So you could say, or the agent, the system would be saying then and there, would you mind if I transfer the calls to our billing department or finance department, whatever. Okay. Transfer to number. This is obviously where you're just going to be able to transfer the calls to another phone number. So if I were to include the phone number down here, let's see, add rules. This is where you can add the phone number. So I'm going to cancel that for now. Play keypad touch tones. So this just gives the agent the ability to play keypad touch tones during a phone call. And then voicemail detection. This allows the agent to detect voicemail systems and optionally leave a message. So I know that's kind of a lot, but I did want to cover all of it. Okay, now these pieces right here, the booking time and the getting availability. So the booking time, if we open this up, we can see right here, we have a decently long configuration. So let's go within our tools section and let's break each one down and how it's actually working. So we're going to start with the get availability because that generally happens first. So within the get availability, what we are doing is we are first setting this up inside of N8N. So let's make sure we are selected the right one. Get availability. So the first thing you want to do within N8N is set up a webhook. This is going to allow these two third parties to talk to one another. So if we open up this webhook, we can go to production URL. We're going to copy this and we're going to be pasting it inside of 11 Labs. So I already have it right here. So you can see 0A5 and you can just confirm that it is the same one within here. So we have, let's see, 0A5 right there. Okay. And just make sure you are changing the method to post because we're posting data inside of N8N. You could call the name whatever you would like. Get availability is what I'm using. And then a brief description. This just helps you out. So we say get the company's availability. Moving on. The only thing that we have to focus on right here is the body parameters. So for the description, this is again just helping us out. You don't have to even put something in, I don't believe. But we are saying finding the availability to schedule a meeting. So there's two types of things, two pieces of data that we need to actually be able to handle this part. And that's date and time. Because if we're going to grab the availability in my calendar or whoever's calendar, you need those two things. So what we say within here is changing the data type to string and the identifier, just describing what it is. So is it a date or is it a time or is it maybe a name? What is it? The value type, we just have this be an LLM prompt where we say within the description, the date or the dates the user has requested. And feel free to get a little bit more specific than I am right here. It might help you out. Down below, we have the same string and we have the identifier as time instead. And of course, we describe the time or times that the user has requested. That is all you have to do within here. And you can even change this or test it out. I mean, where you're going to go to 11 Labs And if you go to your agents, and if we go to the YouTube agent and just test this out, and you're trying to get the availability, it is going to resemble that within our executions. Where in our executions, it's going to run that webhook and look a little bit something. Let's go ahead and copy this to my editor. It's going to look a little bit something like this, where we have this long list of headers. We have the body, which is the date and the time. So I didn't include a time in here for whatever reason, but I did have a date. And what we want to actually do with this is we want to somehow in N8N connect this to Google Calendar, or obviously whatever calendar platform you are using. So whether it's Outlook, Acuity, Calendly, what is it exactly? You can probably integrate natively with N8N. So we don't even have to include this date and time node right here, but I just do it just to kind of format some things nicely. We are then including an agent, which is going to basically be saying, okay, here's the requested time and here's the requested date. Based on these two things, I need you to go inside of Google Calendar and I need you to compare, like, is there any availability? And it's going to say something like true or false. Beyond that, like, we're allowing the start time and the end time inside of Google Calendar to automatically determine the expression. So we're letting the model determine this for us. So we don't really have to do anything. AI is going to handle it. So what we use particularly is the Google Calendar getting availability and getting all events. Because if we have events already scheduled, if they pop up, then we don't want to have any overlap. And this is pretty much all we are doing within here. Of course, you just want to make sure that you're connected to your calendar, not anybody else's. And then next up, we will go back to the agent, and the prompt within here isn't anything too crazy. You might want to tweak some things yourself, which I would recommend. And then we have the response to webhook. So the response to webhook, you can copy this expression where I am just saying, here's the tool call ID and here is the result, where this result is basically going to be relayed on the phone call, where it says the requested date, September 1st, 2025, has a booking from 2 to 3 p.m. However, there's available slots before and after this time. So here are the 3 closest available 30-minute slots, where it will just let me know on that call. Like, unfortunately, there's no time for whatever you requested, but there is time for these slots mentioned. Okay, and that is all that is going within here. So this responsive webhook node, it's just going to communicate back to 11 Labs, similarly to how 11 Labs was communicating to N8N through this beginner webhook. Now within this next section, we have the booking within the calendar. And as you saw, we had an error right here. That's not a huge deal. But once again, we just have a brand new webhook, where this webhook, it is now going to be responsible for connecting to this other tool, which is going to be the booking of the calendar. If we go back, booking time. Okay, so we just use and input this webhook endpoint right here. Down below, the only thing that's going to be changing is the inputs, and that's going to be, we will have a date, we will have a full name, we will have a time, and we will have an email. That's all the things that we are requesting and that we are going to be needing. So once this is actually running and once you are testing it, it is going to look a little bit something like this. Actually very similar to the getting availability, where you're just going to be able to create the event and then respond to the webhook, where in the created event, we're also letting the AI model define everything. So the start date, the end date, and the summary. We're also allowing default reminders. I guess we can keep that for now. And yeah, so with the summary, we're just inputting the name and we're just saying whatever the call may be, like Riverside Discovery Call. And then the AI agent, we say book the user specified using the calendar tool and the provided, here's the date. And we are getting this from the webhook. If we scroll down, you can see here's the date requested and the time. So the time is 9:45 and we're just dropping that right here. The meeting will last a duration of only 30 minutes. If there's any weird hyphens in the email, then you must fix it so that the email is in proper format for booking and insert that email into the attendees variable in the Google Calendar tool that you're given access to. If there's seemingly no issues with the email, then you do not need to fix it. And this is where we're providing the email and the name. And of course, we're doing the same thing within the responsive webhook, where we're giving this output from the AI agent, just dragging and drop that. And we're also inputting the tool call ID, which you can get from down below and drag this over. And that is essentially all you have to do to build out this system. Now, it is relatively foundational in the sense that it's only going to be able to book appointments and schedule appointments, but it's not that much of a stretch to be able to add features. And we cover all things like this on how to do this within our communities. So make sure to check that out if you do want a more hands-on dive. But we also do have plenty of free videos that we've uploaded in the past where we discuss how to actually build a full-fledged agent where it's going to be a little bit more capable. But yeah, guys, let me know what you thought of this agent. I really just wanted to showcase how you can actually build one with 11 Labs because, it is another contender to Vappy. And I have been seeing it, being more widely used and accepted within the marketplace, also because of, its integration with the voices. So let me know what you guys thought of this. And before we just wrap up, I wanted to mention that if you are looking for help doing all of this and really just a way to speed up your learning process of running your own AI automation agency, then we are taking on just 2 more people to work one-on-one with myself and my team, where we will literally handhold you to starting and growing your AI business and teaching you everything from A to Z, whether that's how to actually source and find clients or how to build out everything and build relevant solutions for your audience and much, much more. So we do guarantee you that you will close clients within 90 days. And if you do not, we do offer a full refund. But just to preface, this is not needed to be successful. And it's just a way to help those who have actually been asking for this sort of thing and wants to learn everything that we've done and the best frameworks for our success to build their business even faster. So we are very selective about who we work with because it is so one-on-one. But again, that's why we only take on 2 people at a time. And the link to actually apply is just going to be down below in the description. But again, you do not need to pursue this to build successful systems or just to be successful in general and run a thriving agency. But in any case, make sure that you sign up for 11 Labs, test this out for yourself, see how it stacks up to Vappy and retail, because those are really the only other big competitors within the space. Maybe another few like Synthflow, Bland, but in any case, you guys can get all the templates in my free school community, so check that out. Sign up for 11 Labs. You can use the link down below in the description. But I really thank you guys for watching. If you do have any questions, let me know down in the comments. Also, please like, subscribe. It really helps me out, and I will see you guys in the next video.